thank you for having me. I had, my first plan was to have Mark Cook come here. And that would have cost a little bit of money because normally what happens is we pay for them to travel here. They don't pay for any, their time to be here, but we do try to reimburse them. And so since we found out that there wasn't a huge group, maybe we could just have him talk to us remotely. So I was texting him on the way here and said, tonight, are you going to, we're going to get set up at 5:30. And he said, today? And I said, yeah, Mark, I talked to you about this yesterday. He goes, I am in Maricopa County right now. I'm working on the Carrie Lake lawsuit. So, I'm honored that we know somebody who is so valuable in that particular election and that, that fraud case. So then my plan B, my plan C was to pull it up on the internet and watch him give a presentation to Kerr County, Texas. And we don't have the internet connection to be able to do that there. So I've got the video that I can provide to Adam. He is the expert on this. He started when he was 10 years old coding. I think he started his first business at 13, so I guess you could call him a child prodigy. He's got all kinds of experience in mechanical engineering and that kind of thing. He can hack into any system, so he is a white hat. And he explains in the Kerr County, Texas, what he's doing is going from county to county to county, talking to the county commissioners, which I think would be wonderful if that were to happen here. What they did in Kerr County, the very first person who got up was the Board of Elections clerk, or the Board of Elections director is what we call them here. And they go through all of, here's what we're doing based on the law. We're doing the very best that we can. All of our people have the utmost integrity, and they do. They do. I believe most of the people in the county offices in North Carolina are honest people that are not trying to rip us off. I would not say the same thing about Mecklenburg County or Buncombe County. Sorry, I'm on tape. But we've seen some of the things that came out of Mecklenburg County where they opened up their polls on some of their machines. Not on November 3rd. They opened up those machines on October 30th. And that was not an early voting system. That was an election day machine. So if you can open your polls on October 30th and start shoving in ballots or doing whatever you want to, that's a problem. We've got those poll tapes. So anyway, the very first part of that in Kerr County, Texas was the elections director explaining everything that they do. One of them that was really interesting to me was that when they take the ballots from the voting side or the precincts to the county to have them counted, he said, this is not by state law, this is something that I want to do. I have the sheriff or a deputy follow me and give me, escort me. And he said, it's not for my protection, because I'm not really afraid of anybody coming after us. It's for the protection so that everybody knows the police are here, I'm here, I didn't stop off and dump a bunch of ballots in the ditch. I've got somebody right here showing, that I've got chain of custody, in other words. We don't have that here. In fact, Henderson County, they had a Board of Elections meeting last month. One of our companions was there, and they were talking about the budget. And one of the line items on the budget was transportation of the voting equipment to and from the voting sites. You know who they hired to do that? 2 men in a truck. Oh, okay. That's ludicrous. That's people who don't care, don't think about, our voting equipment, our ballots, is there anything more important or more valuable to us than our vote, our voice? And so you hire 2 men in a truck? I don't know what happens in Beaufort County, but that's what they did in Henderson. I asked my county, Burke County, and I said, how does the equipment get back and forth? And she said, well, we have the county do it. We hire, that county department. And so it would just be a transfer of money from one department to another. And I said, okay, how do the ballots and how do the voting equipment, how do the USBs get back to the Board of Elections? I asked her 2 weeks ago, no response. I asked her this week, no response.
Who's this? Who'd you ask?
Board of Elections Director in Burke County, her name is Debbie Mace. I make her super, super nervous because I'm asking questions and I'm not pointing fingers. I just want to learn. Because before 2020, like maybe all of us in here, I don't know, before 2020, I used to trust it. I didn't think that there was even a remote possibility that every single county could actually be rigged. I didn't think, I remember when they talked about this when Barack Obama was talking about this and he said, oh my gosh, can you imagine having the apparatus in place in order to rig every single precinct in the whole country? And I thought, no way. Well, why not? We're all hooked up to the same, there's 3 systems, ES&S, Hart InterCivic, and Dominion. They all use Smartmatic.
Same software.
Same software.
3 different machines, same software.
So it's absolutely possible.
Absolutely.
But we can't wrap our heads around the fact that somebody is that evil to rig an American election. Because our right to vote, it's in our DNA. Dr. Frank, they explained it, and then we got in touch with Mike Lindell. I did get to go to the Cyber Symposium in South Dakota the first time, and that's because I got together with a bunch of people in North Carolina who were on Telegram. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but those of us who left Facebook after 2020, we got on Telegram. Well, actually went to Parler first, and then that went kaput, and so then we all moved to Telegram, and we got involved with America's First Audit. That was quite a trip because America First Audit was set up for people like us, people like you, who knew the election was rigged. It was a PSYOP, or it was a controlled opposition. Let's get all these good people who wanted to do something and let's them spin around and do nothing. They had us spinning around for about 2 months doing nothing. And once I realized that, after the Cyber Symposium, then that's when we moved from, the amount of stuff that goes on, I guess, I don't know who's involved in this, but they're really smart. Let's get good people and have them do nothing to
The
solve
Cyber
it.
Symposium she's talking about is where they showed each state and they showed what the election was for president, and then they show what actually the numbers were. And that's where it was. North Carolina was 70,000 ahead for Trump, but actually it was 700,000, ballpark numbers. So they stole about 630,000 votes for Biden, but they didn't steal enough.
So we can, I think maybe what I'll do is after I leave, I'll send you some information about Beaufort County. This happened in every county, and all the data is right there online, and I can actually take screen prints of it. How many people looked at the election results for Beaufort County after the 2020 election and just really looked at the percentages? This happened in almost every county of North Carolina. We've got Republicans, we've got Democrats, we've got unaffiliated. The unaffiliated are the wild cards. You don't know what in the world they're going to do, right? Why do you have people voting for Trump, Robinson, Dale Folwell, some of the most conservative people, but they're on the same ballot? They're voting for Cooper, Stein, Beasley, Wood, Marshall. That's governor, North Carolina State Board of, Supreme Court Justice. She almost pulled it off by 400 votes. Marshall is the Secretary of State, Wood is the State Auditor, and AG is Stein. Why those 5?
They control elections.
They all control the elections. Who votes for very liberal and very conservative on the same ballot? Maybe 10 insane people in your county,
Yeah.
but 1,000
Yep.
in your county, in my county, in every county, they siphoned votes off of all 100 counties to make it look, oh, yeah, we always vote. We always split the ticket in North Carolina. That's what Keith Kidwell told me. We never vote for, we always get a Democrat when we vote for, what, about those 5? Why always those 5? Because they control the elections. A.G. Stein, he will not prosecute any voter fraud because it didn't happen. There isn't such a thing in North Carolina. Because if let's just sweep it under the rug. Secretary of State is in control of the elections. Gosh, if we would have lost the Supreme Court, the one who's in charge, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, maybe we would not have had voter ID, and they wouldn't have worked on that, and it wouldn't have gotten to that level. Who knows about what's gone on with the voter ID here recently? You're gonna have a question?
Yeah. Where is this happening, at the tabulator level or in the computer?
I don't think that they know until we can do a full forensic audit, and nobody will allow us to do that.
Because I know I have worked as a judge, and when we would count, I don't know whether we were doing that with a computer. I did work with a computer a few times, but we would keep a count of each voter, and then about every 15 minutes we'd check the tabulator to see if our count was the same.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying that even though the count may be the same, that votes are being added, like for the Democrats as well as who you may have voted
They're either flipped or they're electronically added, because our voter rolls are so inflated. We actually have more people who are eligible to vote than we have in the entire state of North Carolina that are at that age range. I mean, you gotta go from 18 to on up. We've got more people that are registered to vote than we have eligible voters. And you cannot get rid of them. You can't take them off. If you try to challenge them, especially if you try to challenge the people who have changed residencies or moved, Judge Biggs, the same one who struck down voter ID, she also said you can't challenge anybody who's changed residencies. What do you mean I can't? I mean, they don't move here, they don't live here anymore. You can't do that because that's racist.
Oh, it's racist.
It's racist. Because somebody was bringing in a whole lot of them based on the national change of address. And if you bring in a whole lot, you might be disenfranchising a certain group. And he's like, I'm just telling you the people who moved. I don't care what race they are, or what ethnic, I don't care about any of it. I'm just telling you that they don't live here anymore. Well, it's not fair because you might be disenfranchising a certain group, and that might be racist.
I feel disenfranchised myself.
Me too.
To be
That is
racist.
the law.
How does the settlement with Fox News and Dominion fit in this picture?
I don't know from a personal standpoint. I just know that what other people have said as far as their opinions are concerned, the people who own Fox News or have money in Fox News also have money in Dominion, so they basically sue themselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
sued themselves to
They sued
There it is.
themselves. It was a
Money from
wash.
Fox to
It
cover
wouldn't have
their
mattered one way or another, and so they just settled.
Yep.
And then they got rid of Tucker.
I have a question. Now, I may be a little slow on all this. I have a publication, Hood and Buzz worked with me on this publication. And we have one or two resident liberals that like to speak their minds. They equate the out of court settlement with Dominion for Fox News as an admission of guilt, of lying, and not telling the truth. So what you're saying is what some of us have thought, is that they settled out of court just to be, just so they wouldn't have to think about it, hurt their stock values, and move forward.
They didn't have to go through discovery either.
Yeah. The way I understand it, Tucker didn't have anything to do with it. I don't watch Tucker that much. I didn't have time to. I like Tucker, but I've always found him to be truthful and honest. What I'm reading in my sources is that Tucker really didn't talk about it that much, to the extent that he was involved with telling any mistruths. Am I right to feel that way?
I think that in any news organization that you are tampered down, you can only say what the stockholders and the CEO want you to say. So
Yeah.
he didn't have the freedom of speech to say what he wanted to on Fox News.
And I'm
In
gonna
fact,
say, I'm
nobody
gonna
does.
say that the problem, the reason they got rid of him, and particularly right before it really upticked, he was telling the truth, and that's what they didn't like.
Well, I was kind of getting that opinion as well, but he was telling the truth.
Not on Fox News, but he was going out doing interviews with other people.
Oh, okay.
Well, and the
He
advertisers
became
have
a
a lot to do
liability
with it,
because of
too.
his personal.
I mean, Pfizer is one of their
business.
advertisers, and so if he starts talking against the vaccine, then you can't do that if that's your advertiser. Then
So Fox News is actually part more and more of corporate media.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we found that out on
Controlled
November
opposition.
3rd, 2020, when they called Arizona for Biden after 3% of the vote.
Fox has done strike one, what she just said. Strike one was that they called Arizona way before anybody else for Biden.
To put us
Okay,
all to
so
bed.
how come they were doing that? Big question mark, right?
Big
What
question
is
mark.
Fox News doing that? Round two, they did something crazy with transgender stuff, promoting it. Strike three.
But that was early on.
Bruce Jenner is
Strike
on
three,
Fox
getting
News
rid
now, right?
of a truth teller.
I do. You want me to do that?
Strike three, you're out, Fox.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wish I could tell you a whole lot more about how vulnerable the machines are. That's what Mark Cook is for. And so the next time y'all get together, hopefully we can either have him remotely speak with you, or you can watch that video. Okay?
Ma'am, is there any move to go to the legislature and go to paper ballots in North Carolina?
You don't have to go to the legislature to do that. You can do that right here.
In our own county.
I'm sorry, I've been in a
But
commission
you can do
meeting.
the whole state one time if the legislature do it.
I don't know that you,
Not with
yeah,
five
if the
people at the
legislature
top.
would do it, but the legislature would not do it because they're the uniparty, they're rhinos that are in the legislature. I mean, we have a supermajority of some conservatives, but mostly establishment.
Ah, okay.
So there's no way that that's gonna happen because they gained their position through the system. So since it worked for them, why would they wanna change it?
You're saying we could change that in Beaufort County?
Absolutely.
Is that determined by the Board of Commissioners? or-
Yeah,
I'll show you right here how you can do it.
yeah, we do. We do have a big hand in how we do balloting, and we do have paper ballots. And they're printed not the day of, they are printed well before the election, so that we have what we need.
How
And
are they
we,
counted, by hand?
no, they are counted by machine. But during recounts, they are counted by hand,
Ooh,
and that,
let's talk about that.
okay.
Recount.
I mean, this is the same situation where you've got Michael Watley and John Kane talking about the same thing. Michael Watley is using your same talking points.
Oh,
And it's not, I shouldn't call them talking points, like you just get people who say the same thing from place to place to place, and they think that that's the right way and it's common knowledge. But then when you jump into what the recounts really are, then you learn the truth.
well, I've been in a recount for my election.
Right.
Years and years ago, and I had to fight for every vote, because That was the election, you remember, where Hood came up with, I ran against the Democrat Party chairman, I ran countywide for county commissioner, I won, but there was a ringer, it was a libertarian ringer in the race, remember that, Charles? And Hood has gone out and said, I'm the only commissioner in the last 30-something years since limited voting that has beat not only the Democrat Party chairman, but the Republican Party chairman in the same race. Because you remember Van Dorp?
Yeah.
Hopeless. I was running against the chairman of the Democrat Party and Hopeless as well. What?
She was supporting the Libertarians.
She was. Well, yes.
The Republican
Or the
chairman.
Democrat, but not me.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is we can trust the machines because there's recounts and there's also a sample recount after every election. And that, I've heard that 100 times. Keith Kidwell was the first comes out, unfortunately. So I'm sorry if I offended anybody by saying that.
No.
No.
I think a whole lot of people in this room think that Trump lost that election
All right.
in 2020.
So why do the hand counts and the recounts not prove that the machines are counting the votes correctly? Here is why. Let's talk about the Newby Beasley race. That was a difference of 400 votes, right?
Yeah.
Statewide, out of 5.5 million votes. They had 2 recounts. First recount, they put all the ballots back through the machines to recount them again, right? That was the first recount. How many tabulators did they use in Beaufort County to count all of your votes, or all of your ballots?
Probably one.
1. Why would you take, you've got 30. Why would you use 1 tabulator to recount all of those again? Because you know what the result's supposed to be, so you've got it pre-programmed, so it comes back out.
Did you just hear that?
1 tabulator in your county, in my county, in Mecklenburg County, all over the place. And they waited until that 1 tabulator got done. Why would you do that? Because you can't split up all the votes. Let's say we want to use 3 tabulators. That's a high-speed tabulator. Give them twice as much. Boom, boom, boom. Do all of those. What's the result there? What's the result here? Here, add the 3 together. What's it turn out to be? You can't rig that, but you can rig it sending it through 1 tabulator.
Well, why not use all the tabulators that we used during the election?
Exactly.
So that you can compare each precinct.
And they did not do that. We didn't know that until we asked for all the poll tapes from all the counties. And I got written up in the Washington Post because I'm the one who asked for the poll tapes.
Good for you. Thank you.
And I don't care.
No. That's cool.
Okay, let's talk about the second recount. The second recount, Beasley, it only changed from 406 to 401. Oh, our machines are so awesome. Look, we did a great job. Of course it's not going to be exact because they are not stupid. It's not going to be an exact. Just when you cheat on a test, you're not going to get 100. You're going to get a 97, right? So it was off by 5 votes. Okay, so Beasley says, let's have another vote. I want the hand count. So state law, you've got to do a hand count. How do you do a hand count by state law? You have to have a statistically significant number of precincts throughout the entire state. You throw all those into a bucket and you start pulling them out randomly, right? The number of the absentee ballots, they're separate. And so let's take Wake County, for example. You've got 250 precincts. You've got 31 stop. You've got 1 set of absentee ballots. You throw those together, which one's going to get selected? 250 plus 30 plus 1. Those are your marbles. 250 marbles, 30 different color, 1 different color. Throw them all together, which one's going to get selected out?
The larger number.
The larger number, right? You've got 250 purple marbles. You're going to be pulling out a precinct. That's how they do it. How many absentee by mail ballots were recounted in the Beasley-Newby race?
Probably 0.
400 out of 5.5 million.
Oh, wow. That's virtually 0.
No. I'm sorry. There were only 1 million absentee ballots. There's only 1 million absentee ballots. 400, they chose Graham County.
Wow.
Graham County, little bitty Graham, they're third from the smallest. Graham County was counting their absentee by mail ballots. Nobody else did. You never count Wakes, Mecklenburg, Guilford, Pitt. You never count them because there's too many precincts. That's how they set it up. There's nothing statistically significant about that. It is a smoke and mirrors. Oh, we recounted. That's what. Oh my gosh.
Well, I just can't believe that.
It's good.
I mean, the way Kelly runs things here in Beaufort County, she keeps everything so complete. Each precinct is responsible to keep those records exact. And if we had a recount, I would think that the people who were in each precinct would count that precinct's vote.
The precincts were not the problem.
And
Election day
and use the
precincts.
same tabulator to count them, and it should be done that way because it would be so easy.
Yeah.
And
So-
you could come up with results in, what, a couple of hours.
Right,
What we do,
and that's,
we get our results real fast in Beaufort County. It takes about 2 hours to know who got elected.
but not a full 5.5 million recount over the whole state right after the election.
Oh,
when there's-
exactly, you're right, you're right.
And they use one tabulator in each county.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's,
Well, that's
that's,
crazy.
They could
The-
do all
the-
the precincts individually and then come together and bring that
we
information.
know from intuition, the number of things that they are doing that are so backwards.
Mhm.
We know from common sense, they don't want us to see something.
Well, I wonder how.
Yeah, that makes
How
sense.
Beaufort County, it has so many corrupt problems here.
Vote split.
Adam, you said that, there are 700,000 votes in Beaufort County that didn't get counted.
No, Trump won by about 70,000 votes.
You know why they had to do that? So that it would make sense that Cooper, Stein, Marshall, Wood, and almost Beasley won. Because if Trump would have blown it out like he really did, then we really would have said, oh my gosh, you cannot tell me that Cooper won and Trump won by this big.
Dan Forrest really won.
So he did.
He did. How does a black guy win in the Republican Party and the Dan Forrest, a really good candidate, lose by about the same amount that the black guy won? It doesn't make sense.
You siphon votes off of every single
Yeah, it only
county
takes
in
a
order
few
to make
counties
it work.
to change it.
Dan Forrest didn't even fight it.
I know. I don't understand that.
I know.
Well, he wasn't within the right range of error to do it without going to court, and then you only got you only got a month. Really doesn't pay to go to court. You got to get it done before
We
court.
need to go back a little bit, so that the whole thing will come on here. Thank you. I'm taking up the whole, all right, so this is just Beaufort County. Oh, I guess we need to come forward, I'm sorry. There we go. Everybody can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about how do we go back to hand counting?
Mhm.
Paper ballots. Let's talk about the cost. Just like every other computerized system, the expense of, you don't stop paying at your initial capital expenditure on anything. If you buy Peachtree voting or accounting software, you have to pay the annual software fee. If you buy Microsoft, you have to pay the annual software fee. Anything that's a warranty on any large piece of equipment, you have to pay that on an annual basis, right? So every county in North Carolina pays the annual extended warranty and maintenance fees, and your firmware and software renewal fees on the equipment that you've already purchased. So, I mean, just like anything else, if you buy it once, you don't really own it, you still have to keep paying on it, right? That's the same thing with this. You can't see this very well, but these are, shoot.
Come closer. The screen's gotta come a little closer.
All right, that's on the left side is your actual receipts or your invoices from Beaufort County from 2022. We had somebody who requested all of the invoices of, from all 100 counties in Beaufort County. Yay for them, they actually responded to their records request. We probably will not get them from Wake or Mecklenburg because those people just ignore you. But here in Beaufort, he responded to that. So this is these are the annual fees that you're paying on all of your equipment, and that's $23,000 per year, and that's payable to ES&S in Omaha, Nebraska. Not done there. You still have some more software fees. That's another almost $7,000. That is payable to ES&S in Omaha, Nebraska. And then you've got elections per invoice. Invoices per election, said that backwards. Because most of the time people in the county offices don't know how to work the election equipment. They don't know how to service it. We have basically got brought in a third party. We've outsourced our elections, in other words, to another company. So for 2022, that's about $6,400. I don't know how y'all get your equipment back and forth to the voting sites. So they might charge more for that. So altogether, I really wish this was working better. I'll put it up here. Altogether, that is $36,000 per year just to run the equipment. That's after you've already purchased it.
And that's for this county.
That's for this county only.
That's enough money to pay a lot of volunteers to count votes.
How many votes did we count in 2022 in Beaufort County? In your primary, there were 9,600. In your general midterm, 19,000. So you paid $36,000 to count 29,000 votes. So, I mean, they don't just get you on the capital expenditure, they get you every single year. All right, so this is, again, that's 2022. Obviously, you had a whole lot more people vote in 2020, 37,000 in 2020. So it's about $1 a vote in 2020. Let's go to off year. In 2021, you had 2,000 people vote in a municipal. You pay $36,000 to count those 2,000 votes. 2019, I'm not really sure why there were so many elections here. Do you guys remember what was happening with that?
Commissioners?
2019, now that's gonna be a municipal.
Seems like there was a House of Representatives. I don't know. I don't think that that's normal though, is it? The year before presidential to have a lot of elections. I mean, that would be going on right now. Because this is the year before a presidential. But for some reason, there were a lot of elections that year in Beaufort County in 2019.
That's because the senator passed away. We had a special election to fill his seat.
Which senator?
Walter Jones, the representative.
Jones.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably
Yes,
it.
that's it. That's it.
Jones.
That's it.
So it's not
had a
normal,
primary
it was
in
somebody who had
Yeah.
passed away.
Well, yeah, Rob
right?
Water Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
Walker, 3rd District.
So I think on an off-year election like that, it's probably usually only the municipal where you've got about 2,000 people voting, just like on 11/5/2019, you had 2,000 people voting. So you're paying $36,000 a year to count those 2,000 votes on those years. On these years, it could be as much as $1 per vote or per ballot. So I'm gonna put my cell phone under here because I'm shaking it. So $36,000 payable to ES&S located out of state, or you pay the people who live right here in Beaufort County with the taxpayer dollars, you're paying your own people right back.
Yeah.
To me, that's a no-brainer. And then you're going to collect taxes on the income that you put in your own people, right?
Yeah, it makes sense, but that's the problem with it. It makes sense. Our county commissioners are not real smart here in Beaufort County, and we have majority Republicans. And they're not real smart, and they like paying more money and getting people from out of county to do the business, if at all possible. That's our two requirements. Needs to be out of county, needs to be more money than what you would normally pay anyone
And
else.
it
That's how
needs
money
to not
goes
make
under
any
the
sense.
table.
What?
And it
That's
needs,
how money goes under
That's,
the
and
table.
I think that they're fraudsters, yes, I agree with that.
Well, you hire somebody from
They
somewhere
may or may not
else to
be,
do
but I would,
work,
on so many issues, they are
then you can get the
fraudsters.
money under the
Yeah.
table.
Those commissioners don't show up at this meeting,
No.
we have the exact same situation in Burke County.
I bet. Are they
We have-
rhinos?
We have one who makes a lot of sense. We have 4 that wouldn't even, I talked to them on the phone about this. One of them said, Carol, what are you after? What's
Yeah.
your bottom
What's
line?
your
What do you want?
Yeah.
And that's what and actually what we were after is all the commissioners, you actually have the ability in the state law, you have the ability to hire experts and have them look at the software.
Okay.
And the experts that we would have you come,
Would
that
you refer
hire.
those to us?
Mark, huh?
Can you give us a list of those experts? so
You
we can-
bet.
That'd be great.
And 2 of them had already said yes, and they said, we don't want any payment to come here. We will actually, if you just reimburse our travel expenses,
wow.
we'll do it for free. Because that's how bad they want to get into the ESNS software, because no other state in the union that we know of has this in their law except North Carolina.
What?
That's the
Very
truth.
good.
Nobody
Very good.
else can get into the software.
So,
the
how deep can they get? Can they get past the source code?
They can do the executable source code, the source code, all of the files that go along with it, the whole apparatus.
They're not
Everything-
gonna get to the core, but they can see from this ancillary apps from the core what the core is like and what the
Yeah.
core is capable of.
What's really going to happen is if we ever have a county that says, yes, we want to do that, the door is going to be shut so tight on that from the State Board of Elections, you won't know what hit you.
So we need a
Even the-
Republican governor in order to make that happen.
Well, we've got the law behind us that allows it, but the state board will not follow the law.
No, because they don't. Because it's executive, and they don't have to. And the only way you can execute it is to go to court. And that's tough. Make the court going to court would be better now, though, wouldn't it?
So what would be the point of doing that? Just to show everybody how fast they're going to shut that door to make sure that you don't get in to see that source code.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you are honest about anything, you would say, please come look at it. We are absolutely honest.
Absolutely.
We want you to see it. We want to show you everything. But they say no.
I mean, it's not like they're going to go in there and tamper or tinker
It's,
with
it's,
the code.
it's a copy of it that's in,
It's just a
that
copy.
they put into escrow.
Okay.
And it's in Raleigh.
Thank you.
And
That
we
should be doable.
Yeah, and I talked to my commissioners about that, and they said, what's the point? We already bought it.
It doesn't matter. Once
And
you
I
bought it, you still need to have oversight over it. And that's what commissioners are supposed to do.
And if you find out that there was fraud in there, now you've got them on commercial law, and you can sue them and get your money back.
Bingo. There you go.
But they don't want to look.
They probably
They wanna get
they probably have a shift for
Well,
brains
there's
turning
too
like we
many
do.
people feeding off the system of all that money, covering their butts.
Speaking of which, we gotta talk about that.
Okay. Complete transparency. I need to show you the video of Mark Cook show. He has a van that he takes all around Texas to show people like us in this room. Here's how you hand count. There are cameras over top of the ballots. He's got little like scoreboards. And you see it going on. The whole thing is under camera surveillance. You can watch your ballot get counted. What an amazing thing
Yeah, I like
compared to putting it into a black box and praying that the whole thing works.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
That's like Krispy Kreme.
fully audible by anyone at any time, that's because they're recording it, and you can go back and you can have your 6th grade class, if they want to, count that precinct to make sure it turns out to be right, because the whole thing is recorded.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the latest polls from Rasmussen, but I think it is now up to 65% of the United States does not believe the 2020 election was fair.
It was not.
62% said the 2022 was rigged. This is the worst amount, the least amount of trust we've ever had in our election process.
I'm sorry, repeat that, 65%?
65% don't believe in the 2020 election was fair, 62%
On
2022.
Of all Americans? or-
All Americans, and for the Republicans, it's 80% who don't believe 2020 was right.
No, I don't know how anyone would believe
How are you
that.
gonna get your Republicans out to vote if we all think it's rigged?
Yeah.
Why would we?
I mean, Hunter's laptop was enough, really, to throw the election. Corporate media, $400 million spent by Zuckerberg to teach people how to vote. I mean, come on, that was enough. 43 million ballots floating around, that was
Okay,
enough.
so what does it cost to hand count? They're doing it in, they're hand counting in California, in Missouri, and in Texas. They have done some studies. It's actually about the same amount of money that you would spend on your annual maintenance fees. It's about $1 a ballot. So what we're paying on the maintenance fees on these, you could actually pay your own people to hand count. You want it faster, you want the results faster, you hire more people.
So you're paying that 36K on.
To your own people,
In a year that there's no election, you're still paying 36K.
you bet.
So you'd be way ahead.
In the long run.
Yeah,
Hey,
you'd
let's
spend
say
less
you did a
money
5-year
on those
tally.
years, yeah.
And you don't have to buy the machine.
And you don't have to pay for the machine up front.
Well, and yeah, we purchased the machines. Are they gonna stay that way forever?
No.
You're gonna have to replace
5
them.
years, they gotta be
You're gonna have
replaced
to
anyway.
upgrade them, there's
That's it,
gonna be a
I could run a
long.
5-year pro forma on this, and boy, it would really swing it.
Yes, let's do that. Get that puppy out.
So
That would be
let's
very
Show the
popular in county
public
committee.
what a
People in the
waste
county
of
would
money
love that.
this is.
I
Over
think,
65% think the elections are fixed anyway. That'd be very popular in the county.
Okay,
So what
I
is
was
it
just
that
at Office Depot trying to get this thing to work, and I said, I've got a presentation in 20 minutes.
right.
And he's like, okay, let's get this going.
we can ask.
And after he got me rung up, I said, okay, thank you for getting this all figured out. Would you go do the presentation for me? And he said, sure, I don't mind. What's the presentation on? I said, election integrity and our election process. He goes, oh my gosh, my son would love to be there, and I would like to be there too. And so I think we're in a mess. And I said, I think the answer is hand counting. I mean, I don't like to put my opinions out there too far, but I did tell him, and he goes, bingo.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's common sense. Who doesn't want a hand count? I've been in Surrey County, going door to door, talking to people canvassing, and everybody says, why aren't we hand counting? Who trusts these machines?
Well, our election executive director says there's more fraud in hand count.
How can that be?
She said just so much chance for fraud.
When you're under a camera?
That's
Not
what
when
she
it's
said.
under a
That's her
camera.
response to you.
That
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
that is a
That's a
sales
cop-out,
pitch from
right? That's a
ES&S.
cop-out.
Cop-out.
Because what happens is you got ES&S they don't want to lose any money. We're taking money away from the billion-dollar company,
That's right,
and we're giving it to our own citizens.
that's right.
It's a sales job. Of course they're gonna make you say that. Oh,
And
goodness.
anybody who is going to try to protect that system is probably getting money under the table.
Well, can I
Or
say
they
one
don't
thing?
understand.
With,
Or
with
they don't
technology
understand.
advancing as fast as it's advancing, if you could do it in a self-contained system that's not being influenced from outside, from the internet, which of course we want a self-contained system. There's got to be a way to effectively do it cheaper and do it in a way where, like you said, people can see their own vote being counted, should they want to see that.
Yeah, if I had the internet, I would bring up the mock election that they did in Texas. And in fact, Mark Cook could come here and do that right here for you. When I was talking about what he did in Kerr County, Texas, first the election director got up and explained everything. Then theirs is Hart InterCivic instead of ES&S. They got up and gave their sales presentation on why everything is all on the up and up, and they do all this testing and all this stuff. And then the next person that they had, the last person was Mark Cook, and he explained why everything that the guy just said from Hart InterCivic was not correct.
Awesome.
In fact, the Hart InterCivic person said when they were asking about any system, any computer system, he said as long as you've got the opportunity, you've got the time, and you've got the knowledge, no system is free from being hacked.
You're right.
That came from the Hart InterCivic man who's trying to sell these things. I bet you his boss whooped him when he got back home.
Well,
Because Mark jumped on that and he said, that's exactly the truth.
I mean, we saw before the election, in the collusion before the election with the media and the social media and how they tamped down truth and honest and justice the American way. And they did it in a collusive manner. They had the opportunity to cheat. And Democratic Socialists, I found, in being in politics for 30 years and being in 7 elections myself, they will cheat. Given the opportunity to cheat, they will cheat. And this last election in 2020, and you say in 2022 as well, but 2020, they cheated so many different ways. And how, see, the problem is you cannot adjudicate cheating. You can't do it. There's not enough time. You know, we got a month, you got 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and that's what they go back to. Well, go take us to court. Take it to court if you believe so passionately.
And nobody would listen to it.
Exactly, and you can't do it though. You can't get all that evidence out in time. And when they say, "Oh, we're not going to let you bring that evidence in," I mean, they're going against you to begin with. In fact, I think a lot of these judges are in on the angle
Oh,
myself.
absolutely.
I mean, I don't trust any of these people with what I saw in 2020.
Well,
Just like Dan Forrest should have won.
you saw
If
the
Mark Robinson won,
Durham
Dan Forrest should
report
have won.
just came out. They just said the
Yeah.
FBI and the CIA and all of them were lying. So I mean,
Yes.
if that's happening at the federal level,
Yeah.
that's serious.
Yeah.
Real serious. And if you're talking, I mean, why would you ever, the Second Amendment really comes into play now. Yeah, we've got to protect ourselves against an imposing government.
Well, and Durham is an establishment guy.
Ooh, and he even told the truth.
Yeah, he told the truth. It got so bad, he had to tell the truth.
She had a question.
My understanding with the lawsuit that Judicial Watch had against North Carolina is that North Carolina was supposed to pull 400,000 voters off the rolls.
Yes.
And they agreed to do that. And once Judicial Watch dropped the lawsuit because the state had agreed to do what they asked them to, the state put those 400,000 voters back on the rolls. Now, is Judicial Watch suing again?
Okay, so we put in a public records request from the State Board of Elections asking which 430,000 voters did you remove from the voter rolls? The response was we didn't remove any voters from the voter rolls because that lawsuit was dismissed.
Right.
When they put that information out that we removed these from the voter rolls, that was false information, that was fake news. We did not remove anything because we were not at fault, and they dismissed that lawsuit. Email them, they won't respond. Try it.
The
We
Judicial
tried it
Watch-
last, Judicial Watch, we tried it last year to find out, why is the State Board of Elections saying that you dismissed the lawsuit and they did not get rid of those 430,000 when you put out a press release saying that you won? And they won't reply.
Do you have any more recent information on the Arizona Kerry Lake lawsuit that I understand has been back in court the last few days?
The only thing that I know is that Mark Cook is right there working on it, and he was supposed to be talking to us tonight. So I think I'm hearing all kinds of good news is going to come out of that.
Really?
Mhm.
I'll be shocked.
You know, what gets me is in Europe, they deal with election fraud. I mean, Ukraine had an entire parliamentary election thrown out and recalled. Berlin the whole state of Berlin 2 months ago had to go through a new election because their constitutional court found vote fraud, tossed out the election. The left, which won the first one, lost this one. There's now a Christian Democrat leader in Berlin for the first time in 30 years with an honest election. So I mean, Europe deals with it, but American courts are scared to deal with it. That's the problem.
If we keep doing this, if we keep praying, because God has told us, if my people will pray, humble themselves and pray, and turn from wickedness, He will heal our land. And how does God heal our land? He makes the corrupt people doing corrupt things no longer be able to hide, but the evidence will come forward, and people like this woman here tonight will know the truth, and she will have evidence, and will continue to share it with other people until there is a swelling of truth that can no longer be stopped.
I hope you're right. So many people will not look at the truth as truth. They can't see it. They don't think on a level to understand truth.
Because they have been propagandized.
They don't want to see it.
They don't want to see
Democrat
it. That's it. They don't want to see it.
They
care.
don't want to see it.
They don't care.
I mean, you're very optimistic. I'm not after all these
Don't
years.
worry about their little
We've
pushback.
come a long
Don't
way
worry
since
about their
2020.
pushback. You just
Good.
keep pushing forward.
I
We
will.
know how they did it now.
Yeah, and that's how you stop it.
Do we
Then they'll
stop?
find another.
Well, you're gonna have to.
They just did it in
You gotta
22
hand
right
count.
here. They just did it in 22 right in your face.
Right. We've got to stop it before 2024.
Just did it
We've
right.
got to go back to hand counting.
The whole country.
Yes.
First of all, you gotta understand there's a problem. There is a problem.
The machine.
We have to do it one county at a time.
Right.
Yes.
And then when you've got your county who's your hand counting here, and then the one right next door is just really messed up, then you've got fair versus messed up, and you're going, wait a second.
In all your travels to these different counties making this presentation, you feel like there's any county that's going to be first?
We thought Surrey County was until we found out their sheriff is corrupt, and so are four of their commissioners.
And they're Republicans.
They're all Republicans.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
No,
Maybe we could be first.
that's right.
Not with this group.
Not with what you got elected.
No.
It won't happen,
Didn't
but
they vote-
who would
they voted
decide?
against
The
the
commissioner or the
resolution
commissioners?
for general
Yeah.
election integrity?
We gotta get some commissioners out of office.
Yeah.
We really do. These guys are working hand in glove with the Democratic Socialists.
Yeah.
okay,
They
whoever's
consider
got the
bipartisanship a
light
wonderful
switch,
thing.
there we go.